What happens when two dudes, one a retired Navy SEAL commander in Colorado Springs, and the other a hippie meditation teacher in New York City, get together to discuss living mindfully? That's a great question, because we don't know what will happen either. Raw, uncut, and unapologetic. Welcome to Men Talking Mindfulness with co-hosts John McCaskill and Will Schneider. Each week, we take an authentic dive into how mindfulness continually impacts our lives, deepens our relationships, and allows us to be emotionally alive. We filter all of our conversations through the man box, where we unpack how as men we are expected to act in society, how fighting the authentic human experience is exhausting and damaging, and how mindfulness can help. Now, on to the show.
Hey, it's Will and John. First time we're meeting, Men Talking Mindfulness. We're in Costa Rica doing our plant medicine retreat, and we're having a great time. I don't know, walk us through it, John. Or
Man, so much to walk through. I don't know if we can capture all that in one episode, but yeah, so the setting, we're here in Costa Rica at the Imiola Institute. Just an unbelievably peaceful setting, really allowing us to unplug from technology. The ironic part is that we're recording this with technology, but there's not a whole lot of Wi-Fi. We've had conversations with people without phones on the table. We're eating meals where everyone is off of their phones and connecting on a much deeper level. And that in and of itself has been a fantastic experience. Yesterday, started, or I guess 2 days ago, started with me and Will meeting at coffee at the hotel down in San Jose. And then we jumped on this ridiculously small plane, flew right in over the canopy top. I mean, it was pretty sketchy,
majestic,
but
yeah.
amazing as well.
Yeah.
Majestic, yes, that's a perfect word for it. Got to the Institute. It is right here in the jungle, deep in the jungle.
Mountaintop.
Maybe a mile off the ocean, but at the top of a mountain. And then we went into, connecting to discuss what our intentions were for the whole group. And then yesterday morning started with a meditation.
1 hour meditation.
1 hour meditation,
yeah.
Jumping right into it. And it was great, having phenomenal meals. Then we went into basically an hour of breath work, about 45 minutes.
Yeah, we did a
breath work.
holotropic breath work, as well as they added some other elements like to bring out. It was nice. I was talking to Lucine. She's one of the guides that are working with us. She's, wow, an amazing, connected, like such a spiritual teacher. Like really, you can see how much of the work she's done to be able to teach it in such a beautiful way. So we did like a combination of holotropic breath work, as well as like getting some of like the masculine energy out, like bringing some fire, like kicking and screaming at times during the breath work, and then coming back into the holotropic breath work. John was in puddles and tears. I had some tears as well. It was
the pillow that was beneath my head had two circles right behind my ears, where like these waves of emotions just washed over me through the meditation, through the breath work, and just brought with those waves of emotion just tons of tears.
Was there a moment like within? Like, did you feel like some sort of resistance before you kind of had that flood of emotion, or did it just kind of happen organically after some time?
I think that's a great word for it. There was almost like a wall that I had butted up against, and I was like, okay, this is as far as this breath work is going to go.
Yeah.
I felt some tingling in my hands. I felt the physical sensations, and then it's almost like I climbed to the top of that wall and jumped off the side of it, and now I was on the other side, and that's where the emotions just set free. It was like the breaking of a dam almost.
Oh, right, yeah,
and it felt like I was setting myself free. And I said this after the psychedelic experience, but it also happened during the breath work, is that I felt like I was crying tears that needed to be cried but hadn't been cried before. Like I was making up for lost time, making up for these emotions that we've talked about.
Suppressed, right? Yeah. Wow.
So,
and it's like that resistance. Like I felt that I didn't have I was very connected to the holotropic breath work and really enjoyed like the physical sensations coming through my body, like the warmth and the tingling. Definitely had some tears. Definitely felt some of that. There's a great moment in the holotropic breath work where she's like, stop, what'd you say? Stop, let go of the breather. So instead of me trying to continually move through the breath, like it's like, and you're trying to do this with like no gaps in between the inhale and exhale, and also effortlessly as possible. And then it was like 20 minutes in, because we did this like an hour or something like that, right? And she's like, let the breather go. And that just gave me the opportunity to just drop in even deeper, and then just get into the natural rhythm that we've already created during those 20 minutes, and just kept going. And it was just such a wonderful, for me, like a wonderful sense of ease and effortlessness, and just like really being one with myself and nature, but the whole group. I mean, Jon was next to me. There's a whole, we're in a circle, and it was just like, I really love the individual aspect of these retreats, and like going deep and understanding yourself on a deeper level, but then the community, you know, and everyone understanding that we're kind of going through the same thing, and we're kind of like dealing with the same things, but might be storied or messaged or talked about in our minds in a different way. It's just really,
and the connection, that's there, right?
Yeah.
The connection that you have with the rest of the group as we're all going through something and we're all processing something simultaneously, but then also the connection that you have with yourself, a connection that I don't think, you know, I've been able to achieve in other meditations. I've definitely achieved connection, but not to this level. And it really hit home when the visualization that she used at the end. She mentioned walking into a meadow and seeing some children playing. And I've got 3 young children. I instantly imagined these 3 young children being my children.
Yeah.
And then she said, as you walk closer, one of the children is your child self.
Yeah.
And that child wants to be held and loved and played with by you. And I'm getting emotional.
I'm getting emotional talking about it right now too, because I'm like
like that hit me hard. I mean, both because like I don't know, maybe a loss of innocence that I didn't get a chance to mourn, for lack of a better term, when I was a child, and then imagining my child self playing with my actual children, and then, you know, would they be friends? Like a question there I talked about in the pre-retreat episode, having unasked questions and what those answers would be. I never thought that something like that, like, would my kids be friends with my child self? Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. What?
Yeah, like I don't even know why that popped up, but that like washed over me like waves and caused a lot of those tears.
Wow, I'd hope they'd be friends.
Yeah.
I'd imagine they would be friends.
So.
Like, that's such a mind fuck,
right?
man. Like, my child's out playing with my children.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy. And that's, I think, we talk about downloads that, and we'll get into the psychedelic experience here in a minute. We talked about downloads that people receive during these psychedelic experiences. Well, the breath work itself was psychedelic in a way for me. And the download that I got was, I need to play more with my kids, play more on my own. And I know we have a whole episode on that, but just getting that at that level hit me like a freaking ton of bricks. And then anyway, we went from that breath work.
Well, I want to just say,
please.
so like that inner child work, I mean, this always comes up in so many different traditions, so many, like, I think all the traditions come through the same thing, or like trying to achieve the same thing, and it's trying to get to that inner child, and it's like, I've heard the human experience of being like the lamb, the lion, and the child. And a lot of us go through life being the lamb and just being part of the system, doing what we're told, like never peeking our heads up, never questioning anything. Then we might, if you're able to kind of break out of that, you get into the lion, right? And the lion is the one courageous enough to roar against the system. And like, I definitely feel like the lion very often is like, why these injustices, or why are things designed this way or organized this way? It makes no sense, and then I guess if you burn through, and I guess if you really do the work, like holotropic breathing, meditation, having these psychedelic experiences to really expand your mind. And it's funny, they always talk about coming back to the child, or accessing your inner child. Like, before the psychedelic experience, she talked about like getting to the child and all the things that get in the way of the child, the protector, like the masks that we put over. Like, it could be the busy person, it could be the addict, it could be the person,
the performer,
the performer, I would fucking like identify. I was like, oh my god, there's me in some ways. But like, we're all trying to get through all that so we can be more childlike. And what I've read and understood in the literature about being a child is like the child is, they have the fun, they have the playfulness, but it's also like the whole world is like given to them in a lot of ways, just like a child, because when we get to the child, it's love. It's like, and all a child has when they're infant is love, because they just give love, and we love them because they're so pure and untethered by, all the society stuff that kind of builds into us and our belief systems that are taught to us and stuff, and to get back to the child. And it's like, here we are, being asked to let go in order to be fun, be playful, be loving, be non-judgmental, and just be in the sense of play and wonderment. I think we mentioned that a while.
Wonderment in the beginner's mind, that sense of awe.
Yes.
Absolutely. Incredible breath work, which just leads me to believe that what we're doing is that much more important. If we can bring these messages to people, to our audience, then we can help them experience similar experiences. And then we took a break after that breath work, came back into what's called the House of Masters.
Yeah, this is all yesterday. By the way.
This is all yesterday. One day.
This is 124 hours.
Yeah,
in the jungle on a mountaintop.
Then we opened up the ceremony, very ceremonial. Just like the word implies.
Traditional. Open up sacred space. Sacred space. Giving to the, opening the different directions, the north, the west, the south, the east, the sky, the earth, and then within ourselves as well. Like, I love that part of the ceremony to keep going.
So I was actually the other way. I was like,
what is this shit?
What is this? Can we just freaking drink the mushrooms already? Can we drink the tea and just go? But then about 20 minutes into the experience, I was like, okay, now I understand the value of opening the ceremony that way and making it special. I understand the connection with the history of the mushrooms. We're using psilocybin specifically, and the spirits that are involved. Anyway, my personal experience, we lay down, have masks on, and I was very much enjoying the experience. I was like, wow, if this is what heaven is like, then I definitely want to be there, right? And this I felt to myself, I could die right now and be happy. That was one of the waves, and the emotions came in waves. And then the next wave was, wait, no, I don't want to die right now because I have family that I want to get back to. And the emotion of that was so strong. I was like, I want to get back to them now. Like, I want to come out of this experience, jump in a plane, fly home, and be with them in the next hour and just hold them close to me, tight. And the fact that I wasn't able to upset me and angered me. And again, I came up to this wall and I was like, fuck, I'm not enjoying this experience. I'm not. And then it was like this water pushing against this wall, and it just broke through, and I was like, wait a minute, this is actually amazing, the experience. And again,
did you drop deeper at that point?
Yeah, I dropped way deeper.
Yeah, like deeper, like where did that, like emotionally, like physically, like what was that?
A connectedness with, again, those around me, and then with myself, but then even larger than that, like a connectedness with the area around me, connectedness with the planet, connectedness with the universe. And I was like, it was really an overwhelming feeling, overwhelming in a good way, overwhelming in that I was like, wow, this universe is infinitely large and I am so small. So at the same time, I was feeling insignificant, but the most important thing in the world. Like, I felt simultaneously, I felt those.
Wow.
And
talk about opposites, right?
The battle between that yin and yang, again, caused like ridiculous amount of tears, but in a happy and sad way. It was the most bizarre thing. And then once I cried those, then I was on the other side of that anger and frustration, and I was just like, this is a very happy place.
Did you feel like you got into the field with the children? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like almost,
big
right?
time,
yeah,
big time.
Yeah.
And my inner self, my inner child, was there with me, and there was almost like a point where I wanted to. I didn't physically I didn't see my inner self, but I felt my inner child with me, and I wanted to bring that inner child with me and say, hey, look, I'm sorry. And I don't even know what I was apologizing for, but I wanted to say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And she sang a song that had those words in it. I'm sorry,
God,
please forgive me.
Oh,
I
fuck,
love
did
you.
that put me in
forget.
tears?
Yeah. And that's another thing is during the ceremony, there's singing and chanting, and it's some of the most beautiful, and it's live. It's of the shamans. That's the right word, right?
Yeah.
And showing my ignorance, but raw, uncut, and unapologetic, baby,
and ignorance.
and ignorance. Hey, we're trying to get enlightened too.
Exactly.
So anyhow, the music was just phenomenal.
Oh, yeah,
And then afterwards, for me, we come out of it, and they close the ceremony, and then we talk, and we're going to talk here a little bit again, and we're going to do another ceremony tomorrow.
Yeah, we have like a recap coming up in like an hour.
So the integration. Group
integration,
group
which
integration.
is so beautiful.
So that was mine. Man.
Yeah. I just want to make sure we're still running here, and then I'll get in. Yeah, we're still recording.
Okay.
When are we good? Let me just see. Yeah, 15 minutes.
Awesome,
all right.
man.
Anyway, okay, we're not going to cut that. So
Yeah, we'll leave that in there, man.
Well, I have never done quite a dose like this of psilocybin. Like this, we did. I think we started at what's considered a full dose range, but these mushrooms are saying are very powerful. So I think we're at like 2.2. I might have got a little bit like 2.5 because I was like, hey, we did like an intake before the ceremony with one of our guides, and I didn't really, Zach, we're going to bring this guy in the show. This guy's an incredible story. But, so I sat with him first and just, so what I'm trying to get to is I have some experience with this, so I asked for a little bit more of a dose. So
I did not.
I actually had 3 doses through the evening, and it took me a little while to get, to get in, but I really struggled a lot with this. Like I could, I can get into these places, like these dark places where I really doubt myself and wonder where my life is and why I haven't been doing this or why I don't have kids or, so that stuff was fucking hard. I mean, really, and
like feelings of inadequacy.
Yeah, exactly. Unworthiness. I thought a lot about, then I started, someone said in the group, like, oh, I'm a shitty person.
Yeah.
So all like my shitty person fucking, I guess, guilt came up and out. So I cried with that quite a bit.
So just to clarify, they didn't say that about Will. They said that, they stood up and said that about themselves. They were having their own experience, and then that.
And I'm like, I'm a shitty person too. And other members in the group, not just
it transferred to a lot of us. Me too. Me too.
I really ran kind of the gamut of my experience in a lot of ways. Like, the visuals were pretty fucking awesome. I didn't have any major I talked to our friend Matt, who's with us, he was like seeing, shit was like moving through his visuals, like dragons or birds or something like that. I didn't even like that. Like definitely the ground was moving and changing shapes, and it was, it was like I had this nice cleanse, if you will. Like I cried a tremendous amount. I was lying down, I was sitting up. Hey, Jill. Yeah, we're just doing Jill's coming through.
It's raw, uncut, and
oh, okay.
Listen to some of those.
Yeah, there's Jill. That's Jill. She's one of our participants. Hi, Jill. Thanks, Jill.
And the people here,
are really great.
So phenomenal. The people that are running the program and the people that we're going through the program with. I mean, it's just we're connecting on a so much deeper level than you would normally with a bunch of strangers.
Yeah.
We're sitting down and talking about. We're being very open and vulnerable. It's like Vegas. What is said here and done here stays here, except for the podcast.
Except for the podcast. We're not like telling everyone else's experience.
No,
we can describe our
not
experiences for sure. Well, I think I realized today, like during like our meditation that we did for another hour, it's like I'm realizing that there's nothing to fix. You know what I mean? It's just letting everything bring out more of my brilliance, bring out more of my love, bring out more compassion. So instead of like, oh, I need to fix this, that, and then I can be this, I'm just thinking like, you know what, just go for it. Like jump in, be more honest, be more loving, be more authentic, be more vulnerable, right? Like do more of this work to help encourage people, everybody, men, women, like everything in between to come to do these experiences. Like they're really beautiful and transformative, and what I've experienced with the psychedelics is it'll just show you who you are, what you need, right? And how to get there. And, you know, there's a tremendous amount of compassion within the group. We had one member of the group really really having a massive emotional eruption, and I was sitting up at that time, and I just cried even more. I was just crying and just feeling. I mean, it connects us in an energetic way that just it kind of takes away all the boundaries of individuality.
No judgment.
No judgment.
You see that happening, and there's no what the fuck's going on over there? It's like, I want to be with that person and hold them and comfort them through what they're going through.
Yeah.
So
here's Matt. And Matt's coming through.
Filming, huh?
Yeah, we're filming right now. You want to say hello? Come sit down for a second. You know, this is Matt. This is my buddy. We got a drop-in guest. You want to talk about your experience a little bit about or any part of the journey, not just if you want to, or any like the whole breath work or just getting here, being in the jungle.
Breath work was incredible.
Yeah.
I've never felt that kind of energy before. I mean, like, I felt like I had superpowers in my arms.
Wow.
Yeah,
Did that come on after a certain time during the breath work, or was it like?
Started gradually, at first in like my fingertips and my hand, and then it kind of went all the way up into like here and most of this arm as well. And it was just this pulsating like energy. First I thought my fingers were falling asleep.
That's what I felt.
Yeah. And then it just stayed, and it wasn't uncomfortable. I just kind of went with it, and I felt like I had this like energy shooting out of my hands.
Wow.
Made me think of like, I don't know if it's Spider-Man or one of those characters, like, you know,
Wolverine,
where they shoot
you thought your like claws were gonna come out here.
But love claws.
Love claws.
Yeah. It was. I'm excited to do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything
me
about
too.
the psychedelic? This is the biggest dose you've taken of psilocybin? Or,
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's different when it's ceremonial. Was that different than, you know, being at home or, you know?
The ceremony was much different experience. I mean, I've taken it before and felt some of the same things, but not in the set. I think the setting in the jungle.
Yeah.
With the breathing, with the diet, with the ceremony.
The intention of being here.
The intention. I think all of that was just a very different experience and very intense. I don't often usually like cover my eyes, and you know, normally I'm in nature and seeing trees and the land and everything connected, and this was a lot more just like in.
Did you with the mask on, the eye cover? Yeah, I was able to like. That's another thing. Like, so when I would take because it's just like, you know, when you take the mask off, you just have all this data stream. So I mean, you're synthesizing a lot or processing a lot because like the earth shit's moving, and you might be seeing visuals, and then to put the mask on, you just go. It's deeper, like almost introspective.
I don't know if I've ever done that before.
Yeah.
Maybe like in little bits, but I've never like done like a couple hours where it's just purely inside.
Yeah.
Working in my body as opposed to like being. I usually like to do it in nature and.
Yeah, I remember one of the leaders beforehand. He was like, "Here's a mask," and I was like, "Well, you know, what's that for?" He's like, "Well, that allows it to kind of almost bring the experience more internal.
Yeah,
and if you need to, you just lift your mask up, and it's like putting the brakes on. If you get overwhelmed." And I did that a bunch.
That's what Neil told me as
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
I thought it
keep
was
the
a
mask
good,
on the whole time.
So just you
deep.
change your thing. Yeah.
Hey, Zach. He's one of our guides. He's passing through.
We're
We
starting
gotta go.
the next one soon. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll end it on that then.
For now.
So
That's
let
it for
you
now.
guys
Okay. This is Men Talking Mindfulness in the jungles on top of the mountain. It's beautiful up here, and we'll catch up with you all very soon and follow along the journey.
Peace.
Men Talking Mindfulness, and thank you, Matt, for showing up and sharing. Peace.
Finally, get on the show.
Thanks for joining Will and Jon on Men Talking Mindfulness. If you enjoyed the show, please like and share it with your friends and family, and please, we would appreciate a review too. Until next time, this has been Men Talking Mindfulness. Thanks for showing up.